I always knew I was the inconvenient daughter. At least, that's what my mother used to whisper when she thought I couldn't hear. If only Hannah were just a little more like her sister, she'd murmur with that bitter smile that never quite reached her eyes. And by more like, she meant thinner, more controllable, more aesthetically pleasing. Please subscribe to our channel and tell us in comments from where are you watching this video. I wasn't born to fit their mold. I had curves, and I loved food, and I laughed loud and didn't apologize for it. My sister, perfect Olivia, was the golden child. Blonde, thin, graceful, always picture perfect. She was the daughter they paraded around like a trophy, while I got tucked away with lines like, "The camera adds weight, sweetie," and "Maybe skip dessert this time." But I endured it. I tolerated their remarks, their jokes at family dinners, their not-so-subtle nudges toward diet programs as birthday gifts. I kept my head up. I built my own life, started my own business, and surrounded myself with people who celebrated me for who I am, not for what size jeans I wore. Then Olivia got engaged, and the planning began like a royal coronation. Everything had to be white, beige, and minimal. Olivia hated color, hated loud people. She loved exclusivity and Instagram-worthy aesthetics. She called it her clean girl theme, but I knew what it really was, her playground of control. When she asked me to be a bridesmaid, I almost cried. I thought maybe, just maybe, this was the moment we'd finally be real sisters. I was wrong. 2 weeks before the wedding, she sat me down with Mom and said with a smirk, "Hannah, I've been thinking. It might be better if you weren't a bridesmaid after all. It's not personal. It's just the dresses. They're custom, and I just don't think the cut would be flattering for your size." Mom nodded with faux sympathy. "You'd stand out, sweetheart. Not in the right way. We're going for uniformity. We don't want the photos to look off." Office. That's what I was, a defect in their perfect family photos. The room spun. My ears rang. But I didn't cry. I didn't even flinch. I just smiled. "Oh," I said calmly. "I understand." I left their house and drove home in silence. That night, I looked at myself in the mirror, not with shame, but with quiet rage. Not for my body, but for the years they made me believe it wasn't good enough. And that's when the idea hit me. If they didn't want me in their wedding, I'd create one of my own. Not a wedding, but a celebration. A bold, unapologetic, full-sized spectacle that they couldn't ignore. But first, I needed the perfect setup. I waited. Olivia's wedding day came and went. I sent her a generic gift card and ghosted the rest. Too busy with work, I told them. What I was actually doing was designing something much better. 3 months later, I announced I was hosting a reunion and asked everyone to bring their most glam selves. I rented the exact same venue Olivia used, booked it for a plus-size fashion gala. I invited every model I knew, every stylist who ever made me feel like a queen, every influencer who broke the mold, and I designed one rule. Everyone must wear plus-size fashion. No exceptions. The dresses, I designed them, with the help of a fashion friend from my business. My collection, called Unapologetic. Bold silks, daring cuts, rich colors. It was a celebration of real bodies, real stories, and real power. What my parents didn't know was that the gala wasn't just for strangers. They were on the guest list too, because poetic revenge is always best served in public. The day of the event was approaching fast. I called it the Unapologetic Gala. I wanted the name to be loud, like the voices they tried to silence. I hired an entire PR team to brand it, not just a party, but a movement. The promo video opened with the quote, "For every girl told she was too much, this is for you." I watched as the guest list grew. Influencers, stylists, models, body positivity advocates. The response was overwhelming, and each message I received from women who'd been excluded, mocked, silenced, fueled me further. But the best part? I personally sent the invitation to my parents. It was wrapped in white silk, just like Olivia's wedding invites. On it, embossed in rose gold, an evening of beauty without boundaries. And below that, Dress code, plus size fashion only. No exceptions. I waited. Mom called first. Hannah, is this a joke? Not at all, I replied sweetly. You'll need to wear something above size 14 to enter. She scoffed. That's ridiculous. Your father can't wear that. Oh, that's a shame, I said. Then I guess you'll miss out on the red carpet. Click. That was the last I heard from them, until the night of the gala. I wore a flowing midnight velvet gown with a thigh-high slit and structured shoulders. My hair was curled into soft waves, lips painted crimson. I wasn't trying to blend in anymore. I wanted to be seen. The venue glowed under soft chandeliers. Photographers lined the entrance. Curvy models glided down the carpet, flashing confidence and elegance. There were no apologies, no shrinking, only space. Celebration. Then, around 8:30 p.m., just when I thought they wouldn't come, they arrived. Mom and Dad, Olivia trailing behind. They were dressed awkwardly, clearly thrown off. Mom had tried to squeeze into a rental dress padded with tissue. Dad wore what looked like a maternity poncho. Olivia? She looked ready to pass out. Her beige gown clashed violently with the theme, and her tight frown said it all. They weren't here to support. They were here because they were curious. Because suddenly, I was being talked about. Publicly. And in their world, reputation was everything. I greeted them at the door. You're not on the list, I said calmly. Mom rolled her eyes. Don't be petty, Hannah. We came. I smiled wider. And yet, you ignored me when I needed you the most. What are you talking about? Olivia asked, annoyed. You kicked me out of your wedding, I said, turning to her, because you didn't want me ruining your photos. She laughed nervously. It was just a dress, Hannah. Number. It was never just a dress. It was never just a joke. It was years of this, being treated like I didn't belong. But guess what? Tonight, everyone here belongs, and the dress code is a symbol. Dad stepped forward. This is ridiculous. We're your family. I took a breath and looked at the crowd behind me. Dancers, artists, mothers, survivors, each wearing my designs with pride. Exactly, I said, and they are mine now. I turned to security. Escort them out. Gasps filled the air. Cameras clicked. Mom's jaw dropped. Dad sputtered. Olivia looked like she was about to cry, but no one moved to help them. As they were gently shown the door, I walked toward the main hall. Inside, I was met with a standing ovation. Not because of revenge, but because someone finally said enough. I stood at the stage and took the mic. I was told my body wasn't worthy of standing next to a bride. Tonight, I am the center of the story. Not for spite, but for every person who was told to shrink themselves to fit into someone else's frame. We don't need to fit their frame. We'll build our own. The room erupted. Olivia, Mom, and Dad, now watching from behind the glass doors, faded into the background. They weren't the stars anymore. Not in my story. And for the first time in my life, I didn't feel small. I felt seen. After the gala, something inside me shifted for good. For the first time in my life, I didn't second-guess my reflection in the mirror. I didn't hear their voices in my head, mocking, judging, reducing me to a number on a tag, or the space I occupied in a room. I was done apologizing for existing. But what came next surprised even me. The media picked it up. Photos from the event went viral. Plus-size fashion designer reclaims her power, one headline read. Another, she was body-shamed by her own family. Now she's redefining beauty. Brands that had never returned my emails were suddenly begging to collaborate. And then came the message that turned my world upside down. Olivia. She emailed me at 2:14 a.m. I know you probably hate me, but I watched your speech over and over. I didn't realize how cruel we were. I'm sorry. I don't expect forgiveness, but I needed to say it. I wore one of your designs to work. Everyone complimented me. I finally felt something. For a second, I stared at the screen. The same sister who had laughed when I cried in a changing room. Now wearing my clothes? Not because she wanted to steal my thunder, but because she wanted to feel powerful too? I didn't reply right away. I didn't owe her that. But I remembered something someone once told me. Poetic justice doesn't always mean destruction. Sometimes it means watching those who hurt you finally understand your pain. So I let her sit with that. A month later, I opened my own boutique. Not in some distant, trendy corner of the city. No, I opened it right on the same block as my parents' house. They'd moved there a year ago, proudly telling everyone in the neighborhood about Olivia's wedding, her perfect figure, and the model daughter. Now, every morning, they had to walk past a glowing storefront window with mannequins in unapologetically bold sizes, posed in dramatic gowns and sequined jackets. And above the door, Hannah, just my name. No explanation needed anymore. Mom tried to pretend it didn't exist, but one day she came in. She acted like she was browsing, nervous hands touching fabric, avoiding my gaze. I let her speak first. I just wanted to see what all the noise was about. I looked her in the eye. It's not noise, it's a voice. Mine. Her lips quivered. You look beautiful. I paused, then smiled. I always did. You just refused to see it. She blinked fast. I'm sorry. But I didn't say, it's okay, because it wasn't. Instead, I said, I accept the apology, but I'm not handing you a role in my life again. This time, the casting is mine. That was the last time she ever walked into my store. But I didn't need her approval anymore. I didn't crave her affection. I had built something bigger than their validation. I had reclaimed the stage they pushed me off. And the final twist? 6 months later, a major bridal magazine named my boutique the #1 rising plus-size bridal designer in the city. The article was titled, "She Wasn't Invited to the Wedding. Now, brides are lining up for her designs." I framed it, hung it right next to the first photo I ever took in that store. Me, standing proudly in front of the mirror. No one else in the frame. No one cropping me out. No one telling me I wasn't enough. Just me. And this time, I was the masterpiece. Please subscribe to our channel and tell us in comments from where are